Look down into the violent, swallowing currents of the Arabian Sea, right off the western coast of India's Kathiawar Peninsula. For over 3,000 years, this exact patch of treacherous ocean has acted as an active crime scene, hiding the remains of a massive missing city. According to ancient legend, that city is Dwarka, the city of gates. Hindu scripture describes this not as a minor settlement, but as the literal earthly capital of Lord Krishna. The texts describe an economic powerhouse of staggering wealth. They map out the scale of an urban utopia, detailing 700,000 palaces forged from gold, silver, and precious emeralds. For centuries, Western historians dismissed these claims. To academia, the idea of a golden metropolis swallowed by the ocean in a single day was treated as pure theological allegory. However, the oral traditions of the coastal sadhus and the lineage of these scrolls tell a different story. To them, the city existed as a tangible reality, a geopolitical heavyweight that truly occupied the peninsula. This creates a massive historical contradiction. We have to ask, is it possible this fantastical myth is actually an account of a real place? If you open the original case files, the Mahabharata, the Harivansa, and the Vishnu Purana, you find something highly unusual for spiritual poetry. These blocks of ancient Sanskrit contain specific, verifiable geographic coordinates. They also document a brutal geopolitical catalyst for the city's founding. Lord Krishna and the Yadavas were acting as refugees, forced to flee their ancestral home of Mathura to escape the exhausting military sieges of King Jarasandha. Seeking an untouchable sanctuary, Krishna invoked the celestial architect Vishwakarma. What followed was a massive land reclamation project, an engineering feat designed to push back the sea to create a stable foundation. Look closely at the heavy stone blocks and raw infrastructure required to build this. By viewing the text through the lens of engineering, we see a city surrounded by deep defensive moats and massive bastions, rendered impenetrable to mainland armies. Dwarka functioned as a calculated defensive sanctuary, a geopolitical fortress engineered to survive a violent world. But that heavy fortification makes its destruction even more compelling. Following the Kurukshetra War, Queen Gandhari prophesied that Krishna's kingdom would fall in 36 years. The condition for its doom was the moment Krishna departed the earth. The texts document a rapid collapse. The moment that divine protection shattered, the Arabian Sea struck the temple structures with an immense kinetic force, dragging the entire island into the depths. Pay attention to the exact vocabulary used by the ancient witnesses. They specifically describe a rearing sea and a sudden colossal churning wall of water. In a modern geophysics model, those ancient words describe the mechanics of a sudden tectonic slip. A rupture under the ocean floor displaces a massive column of water, creating a towering mega-tsunami that obliterates the coastal shelf. The end of Dwarka aligns with the hard mechanics of geology. It reads as a surviving eyewitness account of a localized ecological wipeout. To find the city, the search had to evolve. We had to move past theologians debating Sanskrit verses and hand the investigation over to marine archaeologists equipped with sonar transponders. Notice the straight, unnatural edges on this weathered stone pillar. During extreme low tides in the Gulf of Kutch, these artificial structures breach the surface, providing a physical layer of evidence. By utilizing modern sub-bottom profiling and diving expeditions, researchers finally bypassed the surface currents. Here, divers are clearing sand away from straight, linear structures, mapping a drowned ocean floor right where the epics claimed the city sank. This distinct circular stone foundation provides a structural link to the past. Along with stone anchors and fortified walls pulled from the seabed, these footprints match the architectural blueprints described in the ancient texts. The excavation of Dwarka forces a re-evaluation of ancient history. It suggests these divine epics are built upon a foundation of physical truth. The Gulf of Kutch off the western coast of India is one of the most tidal, volatile, and seismically active marine environments on the planet. This is the setting for Dwarka, a legendary kingdom detailed extensively in the ancient verses of the Mahabharata. The epic describes a prosperous city that was suddenly pulled beneath the surface of the sea following a divine curse. Moving from folklore to historical fact requires physical evidence that can withstand scientific scrutiny. For decades, the primary obstacle to verification was the water itself. Because tidal currents constantly stir up silt and mud, visibility is often zero, rendering standard optical cameras and traditional scuba exploration ineffective. To find the truth, researchers had to move past visual searches and adopt a strictly data-driven archaeological approach. In the 1980s, Dr. S.R. Rao and the Marine Archaeology Center launched the first systematic underwater surveys of the site. Divers worked in near-total darkness, navigating the Arabian Sea's turbulent floor by touch. 40 feet below the surface, they mapped out heavily fortified stone foundations and a grid of massive harbor walls. The presence of precise right angles and structured bastions indicates human engineering, appearing exactly where the ancient texts placed the city. These large-scale structures were soon corroborated by smaller, portable artifacts found within the limestone sediment. The team recovered dozens of these triangular stone anchors, each featuring 3 distinct holes. This specific 3-hole design and heavy weight are characteristic of late Bronze Age maritime technology used throughout the region. Submerged copper coins and fragments of ancient pottery found nearby further date the ruins to a period of active trade. These artifacts confirm that the underwater site was not a natural rock formation, but the remains of a functional maritime trade center. While manual dives recovered artifacts, the scale of the entire settlement remained obscured by the murky water. To map the full city, researchers deployed Side-Scan Sonar and sub-bottom profiling equipment towed behind research vessels. These sensors bypass visual limitations by recording how sound waves bounce off buried stone structures versus the surrounding soft mud. This monitor shows the resulting acoustic map, a structured 3-mile-long grid of foundations lying beneath the silt. The density and alignment of these rectangular outlines reflect an organized urban plan, spanning the entire 3-mile length of the site. By utilizing acoustic data, marine geologists transformed a maritime legend into a high-resolution archaeological map. The final question is how a 3-mile-long settlement could be removed from the coastline so completely. The answer was found through paleoseismology, specifically by analyzing geological core samples extracted from the seabed. Deep within these cores, scientists identified a sudden, thick layer of oceanic sand that sits out of sequence with the typical coastal mud. This sand layer indicates that a catastrophic, non-tidal tsunami struck this portion of the coast around 1500 BCE. This geological event parallels the timeline of the Mahabharata, suggesting that the curse described in the text may be an oral observation of a massive tectonic shift and sea level rise. The physical remains of Dwarka show how ancient epics often preserve the memory of real environmental trauma. The city's foundations remain on the seafloor, providing a documented link between Indian mythology and the actual geological history of the coast.